Thank you all for being here today. This is a very important race. It's important for Val Verde County. And I'm here today just to tell you that I've been to Val Verde County many, many times. It was the county of my departed brother, of his wife, and his 3 children were all raised here. I was born in Laredo, and I went to high school in northern Indiana, went to college at St. Louis University in St. Louis, Missouri, and I went to law school there and got a JD. I also went to law school in France, where I got a degree from the University of Paris in economic law at the time. I've been a Texas lawyer now. It'll be 51 years this year. And if my arithmetic from the 3rd grade is correct, I'm still 25 years old. So, with that in mind, let me tell you something. In my life, not just have I practiced law, I have worked very, very hard for our communities. I have served the Republican Party as precinct chair, as a member of the SREC, as a lawyer for the SREC, as a lawyer for the Bexar County Republican Party. And I have also served my party with the Texas Public Policy Foundation, which is a very important policy group here in Texas. I was the chairman of the Election Integrity Division, and my team wrote most, if not all, of the laws that became law through the state legislature in 2001 on election. Cleaned it up. We still have a lot more to do, but I left after 2020 to continue practicing law, and still am a practicing lawyer. I'm running for this race because I served you in the Congress of the United States. I served there. I served 29 counties. Now it's only 27. And I lost in 2012 after they redistricted and they made it back into a little more Democrat district. And I lost. But I stayed very active. And I will continue to stay active. I'm running for this seat because I believe that I have the experience, the integrity, and the knowledge of how to do the work for you in Washington, D.C. These are tough times. You know, we have seen a flood of invaders that have come across that border. And we have to solve it. And we do not solve it by demonizing our public servants, our members of the Border Patrol, and others that help trying to clean up the mess that was there before. The economic mess is even worse. Most of us see it every day when we go to the grocery store and have to pay a lot more for basic things, butter, eggs, bread, and other things. And they're going to continue unless we take the right measures in order to correct those issues. We have to remember that government does not create the economy. It is businesses, it is individuals that create the economy. It is government that makes rules and regulations that either compress and prevent the growth of the economy or allow it to flourish. And I see that in things that I've heard today and in talking with a lot of other citizens from Val Verde County. A new bridge. Federal government doesn't do that for you, but it permits it and probably helps out with the Mexican side and moving a lot of the highways and thoroughfares that are coming into Del Rio and into Val Verde County. The dam and the river, most of it belongs to the federal government because it's a federal boundary, and it's also a creation of the federal government. But why is it that Del Rio and Val Verde County continues to get their water out of San Felipe Creek instead of going to the river like Laredo does and Eagle Pass does and gets their water from there? We have to think about common sense solutions to very practical things. We have a lot of ranching and farming that goes on here in this county and in a lot of counties. Remember, this district runs from Bexar County in San Antonio, 800 miles of Texas-Mexico border, all the way into El Paso, then through the Permian Basin, and back to Bexar County. So, if anything I've said causes a question, Josh, I invite you to ask it.
Yeah, a lot of these questions were based at the county level in there, so I think you've done a good job, and I appreciate it, for showing up. I can let me find one for you. That way nobody goes away without it. So how about this? How would you define success as Congressman of the 23rd District at the end of your first term, so like in 2028?
Well, let me tell you something. It's very difficult to define a term in your eyes as well as in my eyes. So I'm going to talk to you regarding my assessment of myself, and I'll permit you to challenge it if need be. But it's very important to know that I was on Financial Services Committee, and I had 3 subcommittees in that, and we had a lot of work to do. The Democrats had put down a lot of very heavy legislation that we're still suffering with right now, namely Dodd-Frank and Sarbanes-Oxley and other rules and regulations that constrained the economy. I pushed forward to committee a lot of just tearing down a lot of the bureaucracies that were created by these laws and changing those laws. The only problem at that time is that those bills that I passed through the Congress did not go into the Senate because the Senate was controlled by the Democrats. Additionally, even though I was not on the committee, I went into Homeland Security and I asked for bills that would protect the border that passed, went through the floor of the Congress, and were passed but languished at the door of the Senate. My success was measured there as well as in my presence with my constituents here in Val Verde County, in El Paso County, and throughout the other 29 counties. My presence was such that I'd come home, kiss my wife hello and say goodbye, come back Sunday, kiss her hello, say goodbye, fly back to Washington. Why? Because I was traveling the district that if you look at the state of Texas, it's almost 1/4 the size of the state. My commitment is to the people and the Constitution. And that's who I stand for. That's who I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Is that it? Can I say something closing?
Sure.
All right. Well, first of all, I won't make it long. I'm here today despite the fact that there were 2 other places that I should have been in, but I wasn't. Why? Because Val Verde County is very dear to me, because of my brother and because of my friends that are here or not here. Anna and Jean, I hope you're watching. This is a very important county. It's extremely important, especially the way it grew its Republican presence in the last election. We have to work on that. It is very, very important that you tell your friends and neighbors how important it is. And I want to tell a very brief story. My mother and father were born in Monterrey, Mexico. I was born in Laredo. So were my brothers and sisters. When we go to Monterrey and play with our cousins, and after a couple of days of sleeping in the same room, you get to fight with your cousin, and after a while, the cousin said, "Tico, eres gringo," and I'd go home crying. And my father and my mother would say, "You know what, they're just jealous. Because here we live in a land of the free, and this is a tremendous place where we can do anything we want within law and within reason." And I think that that's extremely important, especially for a lot of the citizens here that we find in Del Rio and all along the border. The pride that it doesn't matter whether your last name is Conseco, Garcia, Fernandez, or etc. The fact of the matter is, we are, as American lovers of this country, let's preserve it. And right now, we are faced with some very difficult challenges that threaten the very existence of our union. So with that in mind, I pray God that the union will survive. Thank you.